So I just released another CD. This one is a collection of holiday works and stuff like that I had just kind of had as scrap material. So I have so-called scrap material, and that's why people like just DistroKid or YouTube or whoever else monitors this stuff, if anybody does. It certainly isn't the audience. But that's why I have so much additional material. Was mainly it's like I do a lot of stuff, but if it doesn't fit the corporate brief of the project that I'm working on, it just gets kind of put aside. So it's not necessarily a lesser track or a B-side or whatever. It's just an additional piece of work, because when you're churning up all this creative stuff, you do have all this auxiliary creative thought, and you hate to waste things. So all these years later, maybe 10 or even more years now, I have like a span of tracks that I'm finally getting around to, like doing some touch-ups or just releasing it. Because I like digging through my archive, I'm listening to things like, did I do that? You when you're deep in the creative thing, it's like you're in the stretch mode. So when you're in stretch mode, you can stretch a little further, and you can. I don't do drugs or drink, but I do have a stretch mode where I go into this I've been doing this so for like 4 hours, so now I'm in a different zone, let's say. So that's what these latest releases are. So that's why I have about 6 of them in the last month or so. And I just wanted to mention this because it seems like, where the hell is he coming up with those? Is he taking the materials? Like, no, that's not what's going on with that. It's my own original material, and I happen to do a lot of different genres. So, I can't help with it. The industry doesn't really have a place for me, and the little place that it did have for me, it just doesn't really work anymore. Because they're just so prioritized with basically survival of the system, not of the artist. So that's why I've been putting out all this material. That's where it's coming from, and so it's all me. So if you hear singing, or if you hear guitar, if you hear orchestral, or if you hear jazz, if you hear tribal music, if you hear electronic music, it's still all me. Because what happens is, when I'm working on projects, I get ideas. Then I say, well, now I know how to do this as well. And so then I can also take those ideas, and then like when I'm making my own releases, I can add those to the potpourri of the things that I can provide. And so another thing is, so that's some of the material, but the other bits of the material were things that either I was originally trying to push that there's no corporate brief at all for yet, like X riffs or X chords, or there's no corporate brief for groove shadows, and I did that like 20 years ago. But it's still a cool idea, and they don't care. Whether they're looking at the numbers, and they have their own ways of working the numbers, and it's a whole thing of networking and having your own little seclusion and front and back networks people don't know about. It's a mess. So that's why I try to stay true to the music, and stay focused on all. That's why I can be so freaking creative, because I'm not going to try to get as much out of the political process as I can get. And so that's why I now have probably about 500 works, and I'm trying to do my own publishing, and I'm doing my own art for the albums. Of course, I do all the composition, I do all the engineering, I do the mixing and mastering, blah, 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 blah. Doesn't mean anything to people who don't know what that's all about. But, and then I had to figure out like how to distribute it, and how does that work, and what's happening this year and next year. So, the next year it's going to be all about AI. And so, people are probably going to be pretty fascinated with that for a while. So, but I'll keep doing my thing, and that's kind of the point. And probably AI will get some pointers from me. Ha ha ha. So, anyways, I just wanted to mention that that's where the material is coming from. And then when I do my own songs, it's taking the cacophony of things that I've learned, and the cornucopia of things, and making a composite based on all those materials to the best of my ability, a sort of pop, but a different kind of pop, a true let's say free, unformat pop that is just basically trying to listen to the whole of the world, like the all-seeing ear or the all-hearing ear, and then listening to whatever the heck is going on and seeing if I like that. Because for me, the whole thing is how fast can you hear, not just how fast can you perform. And so it's like if you can slow things down with your ear to say, hey, something really cool and unusual happened there. And it could be even like a technical thing, like understanding when people, modulate parameters to, BPMs, or something more subtle, how faders are written in tricky ways that are slightly off of the timing, et cetera, et cetera. Or a lot of times, like there's a thing with dub where people will think they heard something, but they didn't hear what they thought they heard. This is the things that I love to explore. So this is the thing, it's like I've been blending these kind of abstractions for a very, very long time. So I'm literally like one of the most spectrally oriented composers because I'm covering all this ground. There's a lot of incredibly gifted composers out there right now, especially, and they have the most incredibly powerful tools. But me, I'm just doing my own thing, CMDess, and that's all I've been doing for about, since 14, so it's going on like 27, 28 years, I don't know anymore, but it's been a while, and so that's where this material is coming from. And I have like 7 different publishers, but the stuff I'm releasing myself is stuff that I pretty much have control over to the best of my knowledge. So anyways, I just wanted to mention that. I'll cut it off here. I've been ranting for a while. See ya.